What's up, homies? Welcome to another episode of the Homeys Real Estate Podcast. This is your host, Anthony.
I'm Angel.
I'm a realtor.
I'm a lender.
And hopefully together we can break down this crazy real estate market. It's the beginning of the month. What does that mean, Angel?
Market update time.
So we're going to go over the Los Angeles County market update. The prices go up, the prices go down. Are there more homes for sale? What do we project is going to happen moving forward? So, as usual, we're just going to go rocket rounds. I'm going to go over this data quickly. We're going to dissect it and then give our projections for the future. First things first, median sales price in Los Angeles County dropped about $10,000 since last month and is up roughly $104,000 in the last 12 months. When we look at the number of homes for sale, we can see that has increased slightly, about 400 more homes than we had in December. However, compared to what we typically see in January, we're about 4,000 or 5,000 less listings than we typically see. About 40% less listings. So something that you should keep your eye out for. When we look at inventory month supply. Inventory month supply is if there was no more homes listed in Los Angeles County, it would take this amount of time for the current inventory of homes to be sold. Right now we sit at about 1.3 months. In a balanced market, we're talking about 5 to 6 months. In a buyer's market, we're talking about 6+ months. So as you can see, we are still in an extreme seller's market. However, it did trend up from 1.2 to 1.3 this past month. Last January, for comparison, we were at 2.2. So we are on the lower end, or I guess in a more extreme version of a seller's market currently. When we look at median price per square foot, again, this is another indication of whether prices are actually going up or down, just because you don't want to be paying more for a home if you're going to be getting a smaller home, right? So we're seeing that the median price per square foot did drop from $562 to $556. It's been relatively plateau from June 2021 to now, because June 2021 we're talking about $548. So it's really only gone up less than $10 since then, which is good news on the price per square foot basis. When we look at median days on market, this is another indication of whether the market is extra competitive or not. And we're getting some good news here for buyers. We did jump from 12 days in December to now 14 days in January. Last January, we were at 13 days. So we're about roughly where we were a year ago. However, over the past 5 years, January, we've typically been in anywhere between 25 to 40 days. So as you can see, homes are still selling really quickly, which is why you need to be pre-approved, have all your ducks lined up before you actually go start to look at properties. And then lastly, just close volume. Just overall, how many homes were sold multiplied by sales price gives you closed volume. We're at $10.4 billion. This is another record for January. It just seems like every month we set a new record year over year. The reason being is because we do have extremely high sales prices, or we do have much higher sales prices than we had the previous year. So all in all, this is what the market looks like. Angel, what catches your eye about this real estate market right now?
I think a good sign was that days on market, 14 days, man. So 2 weeks. But I'm also very curious because remember, a lot of these numbers are from December carrying on over into January. December is usually a slower month due to the holiday season, right? But because what I'm seeing personally, in my opinion, is that it's still as competitive. I don't know if you're seeing that.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. I'm still seeing it very competitive.
I did see it slow down in December, a little bit beginning of January, and then boom, gave it about 2 weeks. Even with the interest rates, and maybe we'll speak about this a little bit towards the end of the podcast, but interest rates in the month of January have gone up quite a bit compared to December of last year. Mm-hmm. So I thought that would have slowed the market down a little bit. It hasn't at all, in my opinion. Like, people are still coming in to get pre-qualified. Open houses are still lining out the door at those really, really hot properties. So, I mean, it is a little less competitive considering from like June or July of last year. But overall, it's still a super, super competitive market. So I'm curious to see if that 14 days holds up in February, right? Because I believe it probably is gonna even be 14 or maybe even a little less. That's my prediction.
Yeah. Another thing that really catches my eye here is this median sales price. So we can see that median sales price, it dropped about $10,000 in the last year. And one of the biggest reasons $10,000 in the last month. And one of the biggest reasons we can attribute to this is the increase in interest rates, right? So as interest rates increase, you get qualified for less because your purchasing power is now lower. So I think that's going to play a significant part in this median sales price and something to keep your eye out for moving forward, just because there are some interest rate hikes that we can project moving forward. And as interest rates continue to climb, that's going to continue to impact your purchasing power and continue to impact how much you can qualify for and how much you can make offers on homes for. So something to keep an eye out for moving forward and for the remainder of the year. On the bright side, we are starting to see more listings hit the market. I would like to start seeing more homes hit the market, or I would project to see more homes hit the market towards the latter half of this year. That's when some of the forbearances are set to expire. And as those forbearances set to expire, some people are still going to find themselves in positions where they just can't, get a loan modification or get caught up on their payments, and they're going to be forced to either short sell or foreclose. More than likely short sell, just because they have so much equity that they built over the last 2 years. Because home prices since March of 2020 have really gone up over 20% in LA County for most areas. So just because they have so much equity, it just makes more sense for them to short sell and try to get whatever they can back. So I'm hopeful that we start to see more listings hit the market, which is going to be better for everybody, so that the market cools off a little bit and there's more opportunities for buyers to find homes. Angel, let's talk about the interest rates real quick. So interest rates, they've started to climb up, right? They were roughly 2.8% 3-4 months ago, right? Like around September, October, November. And now where are they at?
Yeah, so rates last year, getting a rate, even a conventional rate in the twos was pretty possible depending on what time of the year. Towards the end of the year, they did go up a little bit. Conventional rates were more in the threes, the lower threes, and FHAs were still in the in the mid to high twos. Now, literally, right when the year started, it was just like an interest rate spike, and then rates, gradually did get little by little worse and worse. So now, FHAs now, all rates right now are pretty much in the threes. It's if you find the 2% and the rate in the 2%, take it and run with it because it's a really good rate right now. But yeah, FHAs in the mid to or lower to mid threes, depending on your down payment, your credit score, all those things, loan amount. And then same thing for conventional. It all depends on your down payment, your loan amount, your credit score. Those are going to be in the higher threes. If you have not the best credit, and it's like a high balance loan, you may even be in the fours right now. So rates have gone up. But one thing I will say is, because now when you speak to people, first time home buyers that are coming in for qualification, or anybody that's coming in to get qualified, I thought rates were so good. I was hearing all these things, and sometimes they get a little scared. But what I will say is, yes, rates did go up, but historically speaking, they're still really, really good interest rates, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Yes, they are higher than they were last year. They probably, what it's looking like right now is we're not going to get back down to that point, but still take advantage of these rates, because give it a year or 2 years, you're going to be in the 4% or even higher than that, right? So obviously we can't predict the future, but right now rates are still really good. So don't be scared of those higher interest rates, because to be honest, historically speaking, they're not that high.
Yeah.
I just got an Apple Watch. I'm going to ask Anthony to help me put this on mute, because I have no idea how to do this. How do you do this?
Well, I'll go to the Apple Watch gang. I'll help you out with it after the podcast.
This thing is going off.
So, very, very good point. We still have historically great rates, right? Yes, they've increased. They're, maybe 1% more than what we had our historically low rates maybe a year ago, but still very good rates. And we do expect some interest rate hikes to come. So as those come, I think it would be advantageous if you have the means to try to get into a home sooner than later so that you can try to lock in a lower rate.
Exactly.
Angel, now let's try to give some projections for this year. This is going to be a little bit more of a murky year just because there's a lot of things up in the air, right? We have the Fed announcing a couple of interest rate hikes. We have those forbearances that we mentioned before that are going to be coming to the market pretty soon. So, where do you see prices going next month and for the remainder of the year?
I still see an increase in prices, but it's going to be, I think appreciation this year is going to be extremely low. I think like 3%, 4%, whereas historically speaking, it's more towards like 6% around there, 6-7%.
So like around the last 10 years, LA County has seen appreciation rate of roughly 7%.
7%, yeah. So I think half of that, to be honest, like I don't think homes are gonna go. They are gonna go up, but it's not people buying thinking that, oh my goodness, I'm gonna make not that they try to make money, but homes gonna appreciate extremely fast. I don't think that's gonna happen, especially at the appreciation rate of last year. It was insane. So I think that's gonna be the big difference. And again, it does go to those, the Fed's announcing the interest rate hike, so that's gonna help. Forbearances, Anthony mentioned, I don't think that's gonna play an effect because honestly, I don't think those homes that do get foreclosed on, I think it's going to take a long, long time before they actually hit the market because it's not an easy process just to get foreclosed on. It's not you get foreclosed on one day and your house is on the market the next day. It takes time for that to actually all be completed, the whole process of foreclosure. But nevertheless, I do think prices are going to go up still. So, and I know experts as well would agree with me. Well, I agree with the experts, I should say, right? Because that's who I'm really listening to, and it just makes sense. There's such a demand for buyers right now, and so little inventory. Even if we had double the inventory we have now, it's really not that much. So, I predict an increase in home prices this year.
Yeah, I'm right there with Angel. I align with him. I think we're gonna see prices continue to increase, but at a much lower rate, somewhere between a 3 to 5% appreciation rate. As long as interest rates stay relatively low, right? As long as interest rates stay under 4.25%, I can see prices continuing to increase. As soon as if interest rates, and this is just my estimation, right? This is what I think. If interest rates hit 4.5% or higher, then at that point, I think that prices will likely start to decrease. It's going to scare away a lot of buyers. So something to keep your eyes peeled out for. See how those interest rates start to impact purchasing price, start to impact buyer demand. But
I don't mean to cut you off. I think one thing too to keep in mind is the government really, really, really does not want anything similar to the housing crisis back in 2008. So they're going to do everything they can with, when it comes to the interest rate side of it to make sure that, not to increase them too much because, obviously too high of an interest rate is going to be a negative effect on the housing market. So I don't see that being they're going to do a lot. They're going to do a lot, all they can do to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So I guess all in all, what we're saying is interest rates are probably going to increase slightly. If you have the means to purchase, try to get in sooner than later to try to lock in that lower interest rate. And with that said, homies, I want to wish you all the best. I hope this gives you a pretty good understanding of this LA County real estate market. Angel, where can we find you at?
At Your Mortgage Angel on Instagram.
At Your Mortgage Angel on Instagram. At the Luevanos Group. Thanks, homies. Have a great day.
Hey, homies, it's Anthony. This podcast contains my opinions and is for educational purposes only. It does not guarantee any projections and should not serve as a basis for any purchase or sale in real estate.